Facebook. I feel like Loki's going every week. I'm like, we're on episode 5, right? No, just 4. Marvel News Desk Patreon. Go live.
Who was you guys just weren't gonna tell me Taco Bell took away the breakfast tacos or what?
Taco Bell took away the breakfast tacos?
Yeah.
Oh, their breakfast tacos are so good.
Most of the restaurants here in Rhode Island don't do breakfast anymore. I have to drive to Attleboro, Massachusetts if I want a Taco Bell Crunch Wrap.
What does the Northeast have against breakfast?
Right.
I don't know.
Breakfast besides Dunkin'.
It started during COVID. I guess like they weren't selling as, like everything was down because everybody was staying home. So like to save money, they stopped doing it. And I guess whatever franchise owner owns like all the local ones was just like, it's too much. It's too much hassle. It was terrible. They were never staffed. Like I used to pull into Taco Bell for breakfast and you'd sit at the speaker for like 3 minutes. And I would see somebody like taking out the trash and then running back into the restaurant. And then like, oh, hey, sorry. And I'm like, oh, I hope they wash their hands. That's disgusting, like, because they had like one dude just like handling everything.
Just a little extra spice seasoning.
Yeah, Taco Bell's not that far from garbage to start with. So.
Exactly. Hard to tell, probably.
Oh, all right. Here we go. Welcome back to Marvel News Desk, your best place to keep up with all the latest news, reviews, and speculation concerning Marvel films and TV shows. We've got our usual crew. We've got Rhiannon, we've got me, I'm Caleb, we've got Adam, and we are all here to talk about many things, including Loki and Black Widow and other stuff. How are you guys doing today?
I'm doing good. We just kind of like delayed the podcast while I bought my New York Comic Con tickets. So
yeah,
I have tickets to a con.
And lots of extra fees. If you
would.
Beforehand, we talked about fee structure of Comic-Con tickets, which is ridiculous.
I paid so much for the right to pay fees for this con.
You have to pay money for the right to pay fees to being able to get tickets. Yeah.
What's the definition of racketeering? This sounds like it's is this racketeering? It's just seems like a racket one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It reminds. And then, like living in New York, I mean, like what we were talking about, like living in New York, I'm used to there being like a box office option. Like if I'm buying Broadway show tickets, I will hoof it up to Broadway and actually go to a box office and buy them. And you miss so many of the fees. Like it's so much cheaper. But yeah, this is ridiculous.
But also it's the internet. When they're like, there's a $15 servicing fee on like back when Ticketmaster was physically printing tickets, that was one thing. But it cannot cost them any money to send me a PDF of a QR code. Like, good gracious, what are we doing here?
If I'm printing my own ticket, y'all are paying me a $15 servicing fee, all right?
That's correct.
That's okay, but there's work. So in this, like, I mean, yes, they are printing off badges, but there was a $22 processing fee and then a $15 expedited shipping fee. There was no slow shipping fee. There wasn't, oh no, I'm sorry, $12 expedited shipping fee, but still, there was no like, here's your slow shipping. No, it's
crazy.
$12. Don't they ship the badges in an envelope with one stamp? That's how I get my C2E2 press badges.
I think they've started doing it with tracking because so many people were losing them.
Yeah, but also tracking numbers. Right. Yeah, for real. Good gracious.
It comes with first class.
It's just, you're right, Adam. It's criminal. It reminds me a lot of seat licenses that they do in the NFL, where now to get a season ticket, you have to pay like thousands of dollars to have a license in order to be allowed to buy a season ticket.
I bought season tickets to the New Orleans Saints in 2006. One seat for the entire season. I was out $240. That was it.
No. Oh, this is like post Katrina.
This was the season they opened up post Katrina. To get a ticket to that, I wanted to go. All I wanted was to go to that first game when they reopened the Superdome, but they were only selling season tickets. So my friend and I looked at it and we were like, well, I mean, like what scalpers are doing for this one game, we could buy season tickets for the whole season. So it was $240. I mean, I think like $40 a game for 6 games because like they didn't play the first few, they didn't have as many home games that year because it was unabbreviated. And yeah, $240. And it was like 50-yard line, one row from the roof, but the Superdome is small. So it was amazing seats. I held on to them for like 3, 4, 5 years. But $240 for the whole season, fees, everything.
Jeez,
That's crazy.
How do they expect me to buy the right to buy tickets when it's a publicly funded stadium? Like you're telling me I'm going to pay my taxes to build your damn playground.
Yeah.
Is that probably my most conservative viewpoint? Is that my damn taxes should be going to this damn sports team?
It's interesting. I don't think
publicly funded stadiums are silly as hell, man. I hate it.
But that's not a super conservative thing. The two places I know where people won't fund stadiums are California and Rhode Island. Like here, we lost the Boston Red Sox like AAA affiliate because Larry Lucchino was like, hey, we want you to buy us a stadium. We were like, no. And he was like, okay, I'll take the team to Worcester. And so now they play in that crap hole of a town. So, good luck. Enjoy that. But
right.
No,
I don't think that's an extremely conservative viewpoint. No.
I wasn't sure where we were.
I have thought, Rhiannon, of doing that with like the Celtics. Like I enjoy going to a game, but I don't really care what game. So like I really have considered buying season tickets and just reselling 75% of them to the most popular ones and then going to the ones that nobody cares about and hoping that I break roughly even. I don't know if it would work, but it's interesting to me.
My old boss did that exact thing because they had like Golden State tickets and Niners tickets and all that stuff. And he's not going to fly from the Midwest to San Francisco every weekend for a basketball game, twice weekly. But yeah, there's money to be made.
Yeah.
Is that legal? I don't know.
Kinda.
Sports tickets news desk. That'd be really funny if we just like went in and we like owned several season tickets that we just used to fund the podcast.
You guys didn't want my stock tips, a year ago.
Crypto news desk. Buy the Shiba coin.
Oh, all right.
But seriously, we should make our own cryptocurrency.
I have wondered if we should do NFTs. Like if we made a Marvel News Desk NFT of some kind, would someone buy it?
I offered money within like that 2-week span that NFTs were a thing. I offered like all of $5 to buy the NFT of whoever wanted to break a story about Charlie Cox legitimately being in the shows.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, Adam, you missed it.
I could have made $10 or whatever. Crypto.
Oh no, I don't remember what I offered, but I was offering some sort of NFT related to.
I still don't know. You could tell me what the blockchain is at the most elementary level, and I still won't get it, man. I don't know what the hell blockchain is. It's something, right? The blockchain's something out there, and
it's interesting. I like that stuff. I find it fascinating. On it. But that's because I like watching Tenet and you do not. Like, I just think that your propensity to enjoy a Christopher Nolan movie and understanding the blockchain probably are related.
Nolan movies are good. I liked Inception. Inception wasn't like, it was kind of, but it's just like, I don't know what the hell the blockchain is. Like, how's I get rich off the blockchain? What's this? Now everyone's making crypto and there's a Loki coin that Elon Musk is pimping out. And,
all right, so here's
this is not financial advice, by the way. Please don't sue me.
That's correct. If you are foolish enough to think we know what we're talking about on any of this, we do not. We are not professionals.
I mean, a year ago, I was telling everybody to buy AMC at $2 a share, and Caleb was telling me I was crazy. But
True.
Yeah,
You did say that. And
that's
I did not
true.
take that advice.
But you got bailed out by all those slacktivist guys that were like that bought it up though, right? Like you got meme stocked.
It still went from $2 to $50 a share.
Oh yeah.
I didn't still own it at that point.
I don't care if it's a meme. Like meme it all you want. Hell, my bank account doesn't give two shits.
Rhiannon is harboring like anger against me for the AMC thoughts.
No, not at all.
All right. So speaking of things that were harboring against each other, you guys both got to see Black Widow. Adam got to see it as a press member. Rhiannon, you got to go to a Marvel Unlimited event. Is that right?
I think that's what it was. A Marvel Unlimited Plus event. Yeah.
So I was thinking, I think we want to do a full review next week. But if you guys are up for it, I have come up with 5 non-spoilery questions to ask you as our non-spoiler ahead of time to help people get excited for this movie. Does that sound good?
Sounds good.
All right. The first question I have, would you say it is a top half or bottom half MCU movie for you?
So here's my problem with it. It doesn't really feel like a movie. I would say bottom half.
Okay.
It's middle ground. I liked it more than Ant-Man and the Wasp. I did watch it twice. Certainly not my top 5 like some people on the internet, man.
Yeah.
Not top 10.
I haven't read the reviews. I need to read the reviews and see if you guys saw the same thing I saw. But
that's why I joked with you. I was confused. Like, did they send me the wrong screener? Because you loved it, judging by your reaction. I'm like,
I loved it. I mean, I was trying to think this morning, like why I really. I mean, I think my expectations were super low. I think it's right there at the middle. I think I don't know if I would put it in the top half. I would definitely put it over. I mean, obviously over Ant-Man and the Wasp. Thor: The Dark World, but I put it right there in the middle, not top half or bottom half.
I love that I tried to give us the most easy dichotomous question possible, and you managed to give it. I didn't have
an answer. Sorry.
That's fine. All right. Does it? So this movie takes place kind of in a weird spot in the timeline. Does it feel like an origin movie to you, or no?
Not at all.
No.
Not at all.
For Natasha Romanoff, no.
It doesn't even feel like a Natasha Romanoff movie.
It's not a Natasha Romanoff movie.
Oh, it's interesting. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And even if you're talking about the other characters, no.
Okay. Right. Marvel's done a lot of stuff where they try to make different genre movies. Like we've talked about, Winter Soldier's a spy thriller and Ant-Man was a heist movie. If you had to give this movie a genre, do you know what genre you would say it is?
It teases the spy thrillerness of it, but it doesn't go in like Winter Soldier.
I would say action.
Yeah, it's not the Wiccan action. It's not spy thriller Bond goodness. Oh well, yeah, maybe I'd like it if I didn't watch it on my phone, you know?
I would say it's a Marvel movie. I mean, I would say it's very much like Winter Soldier. I think Winter Soldier is a very good comparison to it. But I don't consider Winter Soldier much of a spy. If you consider Winter Soldier a spy thriller, I think it would be a spy thriller.
True. I was actually probably classified as an action comedy because it is. Mm-hmm. They do have dark moments, but it is funny as hell, and it's weird because in one scene they're talking about all the gross stuff the Red Room does, and they turn around and drop the craziest, most hilarious joke that doesn't really fit, and it's just so contrasting that it's jarring almost. There were 2 instances that I can't wait to talk about that I laughed my ass off at.
Okay.
Between the actual writing and the joke and the landing and the editing with the jokes, it was phenomenal.
So it's almost like a Bad Boys or a Rush Hour movie. I mean, that's kind of what I'm hearing you say. That's interesting.
I mean, Yeah, like David Harbour, Red Guardian, funny as hell. You can't take the dude seriously. I mean, what else did you expect? You know, um,
I was able to take him more seriously than I expected.
really?
Well, I mean, like I said, my expectations were low.
True.
My expectations were low.
What Randon's saying is, if you go into this thinking it's going to be terrible, you are going to be exceedingly happy with this movie.
Not half bad, you know?
Yeah.
If you thought it's not going to be half bad, it's not half bad, you know? That's like the what they always say about Mike Allstott, you know? If you need a yard, he'll give you a yard. If you need 3 yards, he'll give you a yard, you know?
Right. If you need inches, he'll give you a yard. That is also a wonderful. Mike Allstott was a fullback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers many years ago. For some of our listeners, were like, "What?" He was famous because he had a cadaver bone attached to his spine in order to help him continue to play football.
Just a tank. Wonder what Mike's up to now.
We should have him on the pod. I'd love to talk to Mike on the pod.
I don't know what the hell he's doing.
All right. My fourth question. The action has been compared in a lot of reviews to Captain America and the Winter Soldier. Is the action that good to you?
I didn't read the reviews and I was already comparing it to Captain America and the Winter Soldier.
The hand-to-hand stuff's really good.
Mm-hmm.
That scene with... So don't expect any major action pieces you haven't already seen. Also is another thing that
it's a Marvel movie.
It's all in the trailer. Every single major thing you anticipate, it's all in the trailer. That's probably another one of my biggest pet peeves is Taskmaster. Whatever. You know.
Yeah.
Okay. Part of my problem is I didn't really watch these trailers that much, so some of it felt new and fresh to me.
Maybe. That's true. That's true.
There are people who listened to our trailer reviews who are just like, ah, they're like pulling their hair out right now.
Well, no, I mean, like I watched them, but I didn't like rewatch them 10 times.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you guys have already seen it, and it's pretty good. You know, like
I also, for background, I mean, I totally would have gone if they said this is a Black Widow event, come see Black Widow. I would have absolutely been there. But there actually was a typo in my friend's text that was like, I think I have an extra ticket for this Loki event. And when I got there, it turned out it was Black Widow. So.
Oh, but hilarious. You show up and you're like, I'm going to go home. I'm tired.
I was like, oh, David Harbour. Oh.
All right. My last question. After seeing this, without saying anything about the plot, would you like to see a sequel to it, or is one enough?
I feel like we're at a place in the Marvel universe where I don't know how much it's like sequels. You know, even if this was a Black Panther movie, we have like the future Wakanda TV series, and you would come out of it thinking, oh, I'd like to see, you know, there's so many directions that the world is going that like I do not feel like there needs to be a Natasha Romanoff sequel.
That makes sense. So you're saying you liked the characters and you are excited to see the characters back, but it doesn't have to be necessarily packaged as a Black Widow movie.
Yeah. It's not like it created a world I need to see more of.
Yeah. Right. There's the Black Panther world building type stuff's not there. Florence Pugh, Yelena is going to be the next Tony Stark or Tom Hiddleston, or you know, she's going to be a superstar. She's going to be the most fan favorite character in the MCU from the first time she appears on the screen. It's just the, what do you call it, the wittiness or the snappiness or whatever.
Oh, she's got like the comedic chops that really fit like the Marvel quippiness.
The little total little sister type vibes, you know, just like the
Yep.
What am I'm losing my train of thought. I don't know. Yeah.
All right. So I
don't care for a Black Widow too, but that or Red Guardian, of course.
To me, that's a perfect non-spoiler review. It's a middle of the road MCU movie that does not feel like an origin. It's kind of a spy movie, but it's really just a comedy action movie. it's got some really great action, and we're going to want to see the characters in the future, but not necessarily another Black Widow movie.
Yep.
Wraps it up pretty well, and it doesn't tell us anything about what happens.
I feel like we just did a Mad Libs review. Like you asked us questions, and yeah, that's great, Caleb.
Thanks.
Oh, it was crazy that Matt Murdock showed up in the post credits too. I never saw that coming.
No, my favorite part, Adam, and you might not have gotten this on the press thing, was them showing us the Spider-Man trailer before the movie started.
Oh,
See,
yeah.
they didn't. So with my screener, they didn't show me the Spider-Man trailer. They didn't show me the third act, and they didn't show me 3 of the 4 post credits. So I do need to go to the theater to watch.
And I apologize.
In all seriousness, there were not post credits in your screener.
There's one.
Okay.
There was one.
Yeah, there's one.
Okay.
And I apologize to the people I played with talking about seeing the trailer before the movie. There was no Spider-Man. I feel like I need to make that crystal clear. There was no Spider-Man trailer.
All right, so let's go to our news. There's lots of stupid Spider-Man stuff going on. The one thing I think worth talking about, Marvel dropped a crap ton of toys in a post yesterday, I think, or the day before, and it included 3 different Spidey suits that are going to appear in this next movie. I don't know. What do you think of the Spidey suits? What do you think of getting Funko Pops as the way they reveal stuff? Like, I don't know anything about all of that mess.
It goes against the entire Disney idea. You know, they don't control the narrative. You're telling us our look at the Spider-Man suit is going to come from some questionable Hasbro sculpt. You know, Hasbro, if you're listening to this, I love Marvel Legends, and I have a huge collection of them over there off screen, you know, but it just seems like they could release the official key art or something, right? You know, comparing apples to oranges, the Flash was going to be filming outside, so the Flash director said, hey, here's the Flash suit and here's the Supergirl suit. High res, good quality teases. And then we got looks at them like 2 days later.
That grating noise that you hear is me grinding my axe in the background on this yet again. Yeah, why? Because this was from Marvel. This wasn't even a toy leak.
Right, Marvel
shared it. So they're like, hey, we know this movie's coming up. Let's give you a Funko Pops and Hasbro Legends to let you know what the movie's going to look like. Why? Why would you do that? I don't understand in any way, shape, or form how that's a good idea.
I mean, I get that they still want to keep secrets, and No Way Home's probably going to be, it's certainly a Civil War level type movie, you know. But I mean, at what point do you start decreasing suspense and replace it with anger or something, you know? Because the Spidey fandom's already quite feverish enough about this stuff, and it's just slipping fast and fast and fast. And now someone tweeted that it's coming in September. It's not. It's coming. Hopefully, it's coming before September. You know. So whatever.
So, but can we go to how much I love the black and gold suit?
Yeah.
Can we get past to the issues of it leaking? Like that black and gold suit. I mean, we already talked that I'm a Saints fan stuff, but I love that black and gold.
Yeah.
Do you really?
To me,
but you could put anybody in a black and gold suit, and I'd be like, I really like that black and gold.
To me, it makes total sense in that you want to give Spider-Man a black suit, like that's part of the Spider-Man lore is black suit Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. But if you make it too Venom-y, that opens up a whole nother Pandora's box of fandom that we don't want to get into. So it makes sense to me that you make a black suit, but you make it so it doesn't look like a Venom suit.
So, I mean, I just read that as the confirmation that like Toby's coming in his, you know, Raimi Spider-Man suit. So they're like, all right, so we have these 3 Spider-Men on screen together. How the hell? We can't tell Toby and Andrew apart. How the hell are we going to make Tom stand apart, you know?
Right.
So, hashtag Spider-Verse confirmed.
I think that's kind of been everybody's assumption for a while, but
yeah, it's weird. There's some people who are still, I don't know, people are still real worked up about Ralph Boner, who are like, I'm not gonna believe it until I see it because they did this to me before.
That's
it's like,
my
come on,
biggest
guys.
worry with Matt Murdock, man. I swear to God,
oh my God,
it keeps me up at night. It keeps me up at night after the whole Ralph Boner incident.
You're worried that Charlie Cox will be in a TV series as
Mike Murdock.
As Hey, would you blow me?
I mean, Cox, like Charlie Cox playing himself. So now we have Boner, Charlie Cox, Mr. Peanut. Like...
So back to these Funkos.
Yeah.
There's also just the hilarious Doctor Strange and a snow shovel.
Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah.
I mean, it definitely gives, we've seen set photos of them at the Sanctum. I would be shocked if part of what happens here isn't Peter and MJ and Ned just show up at the Sanctum and just knock on the front door. And he's like, I don't want any Girl Scout cookies. And they're like, no, I'm Spider-Man. Please help me. Like, I'm pretty sure that they're just going to catch him hanging out on a Saturday afternoon. And that's going to be where this movie opens up almost.
Yeah.
Or reverse, what happens if he catches them hanging out on a Saturday afternoon? Tom and Zendaya are dating or smooching. They're smooching. You guys see the smooching pics?
I did.
Poppy Rotsam caught him smooching.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of a rite of passage. Don't the Spider-Man actors and MJ actors have to have a real life romance while they're filming?
3 out of 3 so far.
Yeah.
4 out of 4 because there was that video of Tom Hardy smooching his symbiote as well.
It does make you appreciate, like, I don't know why I go there, like the mystique of Spider-Man. Like if somebody that looks like Tobey Maguire can start dating someone that looks like Kirsten Dunst, there's just something about that movie magic, you know. Like Andrew Garfield was a handsome man, but Tobey Maguire was a real goof.
Is he?
I think so. I don't know.
I mean, if you're an A-list movie star, I'm sure that carries a decent amount of weight as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, with this whole thing, my deal with Marvel is there comes a point at which I start to blame Marvel for the fan ridiculousness. Like, and people, when they were in April and going like, oh, we need a trailer, it was like, come on, guys, calm down. But if Marvel delays this trailer more than they typically delay a trailer, and then they start throwing toys at us, there is some point at which Marvel becomes somewhat responsible for what's going on.
You don't say. Believe it or not, Marvel is at fault sometimes, guys. I mean, they don't do everything right.
It's not stupid to think a Christmas movie should have a trailer out by the 4th of July. Like, again, we have historical data on this stuff. The trailer is due about right now. And if we make it to August 1st and it's not out, then they're kind of, you know, they're going against the norm for some reason, but they have to know it's going to get the fan base foaming at the mouth, you know?
Well, and I mean, normally we would be saying, okay, they're holding it for Comic-Con. You know, normally late July, we have San Diego Comic-Con, and that's when we get all of this information thrown at us. You know, at this point, we don't have a trailer. We don't have a teaser. Okay, they're saving it for Comic-Con. But we don't, as far as we know, Marvel Studios, San Diego Comic-Con is going to be virtual in July. As far as we know, Marvel Studios isn't doing anything as part of the virtual presentations. What are they holding it for?
And also, just a small correction on not correction, but another thing about that is, yes, they save trailers for Comic-Con, but for November movies, those are second full trailers. The teasers usually come in April. And so now this is all delayed a month because we're talking Christmas and not, you know, November. But still, like, if they held this first trailer until Comic-Con, that is still delaying the usual schedule significantly.
So they have to be holding it for something that's revealed in Loki.
Maybe. I mean, that's what I feel like the What If is going on with What If, which I don't know, supposedly comes out in 5 or 6 weeks now. Maybe. I mean, we've got no release date. We've got no trailer. Who knows?
Maybe we're going straight to Hawkeye.
God, that'd be awesome.
Rihanna just keeps saying that because she wants it to be true.
I just want Hawkeye now. Yep.
That's so interesting, Rihanna. Why are you so excited about Hawkeye?
So back to the pops. They're very cute.
Yeah, I'm also fascinated. There's one where Spider-Man has like a thing on his chest and seems to have like a magic type rune thing. We talked about in the past how Marvel always science-ifies their magic. It will be really weird and a little frustrating if they just create like a doohickey that goes on the Iron Spider suit that makes him Doctor Strange capable. Like making the magic work with tech is weird.
You think that's more likely than he's hanging out with Doctor Strange? They're like shoveling snow together and Strange teaches him some magic?
Maybe.
I mean, because Strange has the same thing in his hand, in his pup. Like they both have a little.
Yeah, but Spidey's also has like a weird like Iron Man like circle thing on his chest.
He does.
If Tony Stark created a device that allows Spider-Man to do magic, the internet will lose its collective mind.
We're not even we have yet to get like an actual Spider-Man movie in the MCU. Like, just give it
like where he's swinging off of buildings and like Spider-Manning.
It's nuts.
Yeah,
well, we should get used to it because X-Men's going to be the same way. Because some of it is Feige doesn't want to rehash what's already been done. So these Spider-Man movies are in part acknowledgments of the 5 that came before them. And I think in the same way, the X-Men are going to be a very specific take of the X-Men.
Yeah,
because
but they're not going to be pimping Tony Stark Iron Man for 9 straight hours throughout the trilogy. You know, if they do, I don't give a shit about the X-Men the way it is, man. Let alone like, Tony Stark created mutants and kept them on his sword planet above the planet, and I don't know, man. Just
see, I'm fine with the Stark stuff because it was just a way to give a new emotional center to the character without us having to talk about Uncle Ben all the time.
Here, instead of Uncle Ben, here's someone you've already seen enough of over the past 10 years. And they shove you down your throat at every single turn. I'm done with Iron Man. Iron Man's also done with the MCU. Robert Downey Jr. unfollowed every Marvel actor on his Instagram. Rip.
What?
That's weird.
RDJ unfollowed every single Marvel actor on his Instagram profile. That's what TikTok told me this morning.
That seems very ridiculous and unnecessary. You know, like, why would you even do that? All it's going to do is stir up trouble.
TikTok's already on it, man. The stands are going crazy. They're devastated. The comments were like, but they got the tattoo. It's like, yeah, they probably got it removed right after, man. Shit. Like, so what? You know how many tattoos these guys probably have that they just cut off their leg and buy a new leg? You know, I mean, they all drink our blood anyway. Do you think they don't?
What has TikTok done to you?
This is the most conservative position you've ever taken. Is all the MCU actors drink human blood?
I'm just saying,
replacing their legs.
So, speaking of things people get upset about on social media, I almost don't want to talk about this, but we have to talk about this. So James Gunn the other night decided just to kick the hornet's nest, like right in the teeth. It started as a nice enough post, like, oh, hey, who are actors who are in the MCU and both the MCU and the DCEU? And people are like, oh, well. And then they mention people who are in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or Daredevil or a Sony movie. And he was like, no, not MCU, not MCU, not MCU. And the internet collectively lost its mind, of course. I enjoyed it very much. I don't know. What did you guys think of this whole kerfuffle?
I love it. Here's the deal. Though someone kept arguing with him, and he flat out said, "Stop taking me in this stuff." And they sent him a link to some Google document that says this is the evidence that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's not canon. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. hasn't been canon since season 5. I mean, it's not. I mean,
I don't get it, people. I don't get it. Marvel Television is in the same universe as the movies. You know, that's like, those movies are in the same universe as us. But when aliens attack New York in the movies, our real world didn't have aliens attacking. When hand ninjas overtook New York City, the movies didn't have hand ninjas attacking. It's kind of like the TV shows start in the world created by the movies and Marvel Studios and all of that, but nothing they do impacts them. So people like, that seems like such a hard line for people to comprehend. Yeah. Like that both can be true.
There's also this suggestion that being in the MCU is a sign of quality or something, whereas Legion's probably better than anything Marvel Studios has put on Disney Plus. You know, I mean, canonizing Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. doesn't make S.H.I.E.L.D. worse. If it does, maybe it's not a good show in the first place. I think we've had this discussion several times. You know, if taking away Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s continuity with Iron Man 3 is what made Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. good in the first place.
Well, and some of this is, I'm realizing more and more that some of this is we are fighting completely different definitions of canon. Like I had a guy just really insistent yesterday, it's canon. And so I finally just said, okay, can you define for me what is canon? And he literally, his response was, it exists. Now that is not grammatically the way that sentence should work, but beyond that, if you're saying canon means that this thing exists, yes, it exists. Okay. Like, yes, I agree. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was a TV show that was produced and did have Marvel characters in it. That's right. But like, I find myself saying things like, well, yeah, but there's no continuity because there's disagreement on plot. People are like, well, the comics are like that. Sometimes things just disagree. It's not a big deal. Okay. If canon means that they both happen in roughly the same universe, but they don't have consistent details, first of all, that's not what canon means. But second of all, okay, fine. Like, I don't disagree with that. It's really people fighting over things. I don't even think they even know what the words that they're fighting about mean, you know?
Never mind the fact that there's a show airing right now that deals with the multiverse and separate timelines. And that's going to be the next thing. I mean, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. isn't on Earth 619. It's on Earth Prime. No, just... come on.
It doesn't matter.
That's why just make everything in the multiverse. Make from New Lines Blade to that 1994 Fantastic Four movie that never worked to what was the Spider-Man cartoon in the 60s. Just make everything. Make it. I'm not
Japanese Spider-Man. Right. Another universe.
I'm convinced we got Earth 616 Loki this week with one of the nods. You know, won't that just be brilliant if Loki says, "Oh, hey, I'm the Loki from Earth 616," and everyone's gonna go, "Oh, it is all connected." Jeff wasn't lying to us. It is all connected. It's just I make everything the multiverse. Everything's canon. I mean, there's no harm in that. I get you guys want tight continuities, but you guys know what the MCU is. Just make everything canon, and then you have the MCU within the canon, right?
Yeah. The thing that was really bizarre to me is the people that, because Gunn was very clear, like, no, Morbius is not in the MCU. You know, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is not in the MCU. And what was amazing is how quickly everyone's like, well, it's just James Gunn. What does he know? Like, that to me is a special kind of special pleading. The idea that James Gunn, like, he was so important in the cosmic stuff. They put him as an executive producer on Infinity War and Endgame, even amidst the scandal stuff and him getting fired from Disney. He was still producing those movies. Like, James Gunn knows what's going on. And so if the only way you can maintain your case is to go, well, James doesn't really understand this, come on, guys, that's crazy.
Yeah, I think James Gunn understands it.
For sure.
Yeah.
I still don't get. No one has ever asked Kevin Feige himself, like point blank. I still don't get it. Every
Have
other
they,
month,
or did he just not answer?
Junket. It's always, can so and so come back? Can Charlie Cox come back? Well, some things you see online are true, and some things you see are false. All right,
I really liked that quote, by the way. The some things you see online are true, some things are false. I mean,
he said it again this weekend too.
Yeah, he did
to ET, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, Adam, do you think if someone asked him point blank, he would answer on the record, or is it possible that journalists sometimes ask Marvel stuff?
I mean,
and they
asked him
answer
about Charlie Cox, and he didn't. He did that very awkward, whatever. Didn't say anything.
Not
the Amy
awkward
Pascal
when the answer
face.
is no.
Right. He didn't. Yeah, that's the thing. He just kind of. I mean, that's as much as a confirmation as we're going to get from a guy like that.
Yeah.
But I don't think anyone's asked him, do you consider Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in the same continuity as these shows you're making right now, or these movies you're making right now?
All right, so we put that out. We need that question asked. We know people doing press tours with Feige.
Just
they need to ask the question.
Don't ask if Clark Gregg's coming back, or if Agent May's coming back, or if Daisy Johnson's coming back, or could come back. Don't say could. Don't ask Kevin Feige a could question. Please don't ask him a could question.
Yeah, there's infinite possibilities. It's comic books.
Yeah, anything can happen. We love some characters. Oh, bullshit, man. Do you think Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D's canon or not? And now I think journalists actually have a reasonable belief to, because James Gunn's still employed by Marvel Studios, and Kevin Feige, one of your employees says Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D's not canon or in continuity with the MCU. What do you say to that?
Well, and to me, it matters because he used Kree characters and Kree culture in Guardians at the exact same time that they were doing Kree stuff on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. When people are like, oh, it's in continuity, but they just didn't talk too much about, no, they had to have had discussions to make sure they didn't use the same characters or cross over or say contradictory things. And if James Gunn goes, no, we had no contact with those guys, that means they're not coordinating it. And it's not even like a movie where someone else wrote it. He directed it. He wrote it. He directed it. It's clearly that Guardians is his baby. If Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. had to communicate with Guardians about the Kree, James Gunn would have been part of those conversations.
Now, all that said, I still believe Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is canon and in continuity, because I've had enough Twitter drama for the week. So please don't at me. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is canon. Thank you. Goodbye.
Funny. All right, let's talk about Loki. We had episode 4. What did you guys think of this one?
Best thing Marvel Studios has done on Disney Plus to date. Bar none. It's the perfect balance between character and story. It had the post-credit scene to boot. It had a heart. It was full on comic booky goodness. It is the best hour. It's the best 42 minutes of television Marvel Studios has made for Disney Plus. How's that for positivity, reviewers? How's that?
Glad Adam enjoyed it.
Episode 4. I loved it. I loved it so much. I stayed up and watched it twice. Went to bed, woke up and watched it again before I even had lunch, breakfast, whatever.
I think they're giving us different stuff. You saw a different Black Widow. I saw a different Loki.
So you didn't enjoy it as much, Rhiannon?
I mean, I don't think it's the best thing Marvel ever did. I think it was a solid episode. The fight scenes are really just not doing it for me. And I know some of this may be that we're in pandemic fighting, that, I know the stunt stuff really changed, but just the fight scenes are not good.
So I don't want to be unfair to anyone. Is it possible that Tom Hiddleston just isn't a great fight choreography guy? Because the reality of the outfit he's in, which is just a jacket and his face, I would think some of the stuff would be hard to stunt double because the shots are clearly showing his face. And it just feels to me like when the kids in high school drama club were doing fake sword fights, like waiting for the bus in high school. It's just, it is not good. It is lumbering. It looks rehearsed. It looks like someone who is trying to remember the moves they were asked to do. I just find the fight stuff is horrendous, just not good.
I'm trying to remember was there any fights besides the timekeepers?
There was the timekeeper fight. Yeah. I mean, in previous episodes, I'm thinking the tent fight to me felt like the exact same fight as the timekeeper room. People have the prune sticks and they're like doing the yeah with the sticks. And it's like, poo, 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 the end. Like,
that'll work great on a podcast. Rhiannon just mimed an entire fight that you cannot see on the podcast.
You can feel it, effect, hopefully. Yeah, there's I mean they're just pushing these sticks. I'm not loving the fights.
I do think okay.
I mean it and Tom Hiddleston is definitely a very athletic person. But yeah, maybe this is the one area that he's not awesome at. But but this was a good episode. It went places, it did things.
Well, and to be clear, for me, the fighting is the only like fuss I have about it is just every time there's a fight scene, I'm like, oh geez, like this show is clever enough. Like, do we even have to do this, or is there another way past this? Because it's just, I don't know.
It blows my mind. You guys are this gung-ho about the fights, but won't watch John Wick. Blows my mind.
It's not that I won't watch it, Adam. It's that I haven't gotten to it. Yeah.
If the only thing you're selling me on movie is that it has good fights, I'm not going to go watch the movie. Like, I'm a plot person.
It has good fights and Keanu Reeves.
To be fair, that's a pretty compelling argument.
I mean,
there's not much more it can add, so
yeah, so I think this really might be the difference between Adam and me on Black Widow as well. I think part of my problem is being in the right state of mind to watch this stuff and being hyped about it and all of this. Back to Black Widow, I feel like Black Widow needs to be seen in movie theaters. And I think Loki, maybe I shouldn't be watching at 6 a.m. Like, I find when I rewatch it at, like 7, 8 o'clock at night, I enjoy it more. But if I waited until then, I would have been spoiled on something. So I watch it at 6 a.m. So that initial watching. So, and also, like, Caleb, I know you wait and watch it in the evenings with your family. Yep. And you've generally enjoyed it more.
Yeah. So I wait. It's 9:30. All the littlest kids are asleep. I can turn all the lights off. So it's like a dark room. So it's a little bit cinematic. So yeah, I've just been avoiding social media until I get to it.
Good, because I spoiled it as second as that post credit dropped. Gotta get them tweets out.
Yeah.
So it was interesting, Adam, because
I just think the fight, maybe it's the death sticks. I mean, that does pose a hurdle that these choreographers have to get over, because we know they can't touch and it's only the end. It's only the end because apparently you can stab with the opposite end and it won't prune them or anything. So it's just the.
And I guess I don't expect timekeepers to fight like the Dora Milaje. I mean, because they fight with sticks and it's interesting. Sticks with a pokey end.
Yep.
But at the same time, these TVA agents are people ripped from their own timelines, and they're probably
well. That's what I'm saying.
John and Jane Doe at a 9 to 5, and then they
get but we're also getting the
into
sense
the quantum realm
that for a long time they've been doing the job, right?
Mm-hmm. Maybe.
I think the more concerning part to me is the Lokis, because like I always fussed Iron Fist. He's supposed to be the best martial artist in the world, but there just wasn't a fluency there with Finn Jones that felt like someone who does martial arts.
Okay, they didn't even give Finn time to rehearse.
No, I know, but what I'm saying is with Loki, in the same way, this is a character who's been using daggers and engaging in fighting and battles for thousands of years. And I'm sorry, when Tom Hiddleston swings a sword, it does not feel like somebody who has spent 1,000 years with a sword.
But
this is the first time. But this is the first
brother.
time he's fighting without magic. Also, when we're in the TVA.
Oh, okay.
You know, he really is fighting without, you know, like with one hand tied behind his back at this point.
Okay.
But it goes back any other time that we have seen these shows and that they have used the trope of taking the person's power away. It has infuriated us.
Yeah.
What are you, Marvel Television?
And they have totally done it with Loki. They have taken his power. They have put him in the situation where they take his power away. And it, you know, I don't love the character with his power taken away.
It is amazing how we get the trailer and we all see that green magic burst. And we're like, oh man, they're going to finally show Loki with his magic powers. And today, that's the only magic we've really seen. Throughout the stuff on Lamentis,
fireworks,
be a time stone, you know, his force powers.
So this was a diatribe on a small thing, though. I mean, I think generally there's a lot more than the fighting, at least for me, to this episode. So there was some sort of event that was going to be a major Nexus event, like it was going to the red line faster than anything's ever gone to the red line. Mobius seems to believe it's Loki falling in love with himself in an alternate universe. Did you guys take it that way? Do you have a sense of what the Nexus event is?
I thought it was.
I think they're expecting us to believe that. Yeah.
Because that's how they found him, right?
Yeah.
No. Well, I mean, there technically were fireworks, but just not the fireworks.
See, I don't think it's a romantic thing, though. I think that's a red herring.
I kind of liked that they hinted that Loki has never done romance. You know, because like I was saying last week, the least believable thing about the previous episode was that Loki had relationships or been in love or anything like that. Yeah, like we hadn't seen any of that. Never mind who it was with. And I feel like this episode, they kind of went on further like that he really hasn't had that in him. He hasn't felt that way about anybody. I'm hoping it wasn't that Loki was falling in love with himself in a romantic way, because that's just weird. I think it should count as incest.
It
should count as incest.
Does it change things if Sophie's adopted by Odin?
Loki was adopted?
That's true. I mean, if they're both adopted, then they're like super not related.
But they're still the same person.
But it's so perfect. I mean, it's the perfect Nexus. Why, if it's perfectly in line? Let's get around the weirdness. Okay, I mean, if you look.
Okay, but I'm saying just like Loki having feelings, genuinely caring about somebody might be a Nexus event in and of itself.
But that's what I think it is. I think it's actually just a friendship thing. It is the first time he has truly felt friendship, and then they reinforce that with the conversation between him and Mobius about friendship later on in the episode.
But if they went on for the whole planet to just be destroyed, it wouldn't matter either way. Wouldn't matter if Loki had turned into Mother Teresa, the planet got destroyed, it wouldn't be a Nexus event.
Yeah, they still kind of need to explain that. I feel like what, and I feel like they are building to it, because Loki was about to say something about it when he gets pruned. So
yeah.
I think it is romantic. I think it is. Because we've seen genuine care with Thor before. I mean, he always flip-flops, but I think, you know, in Ragnarok, we got some of that, you know? At least glimpses of actual genuine care. By the way, that's another thing that drove me nuts this week. There are people sending, someone told one of the filmmakers to kill himself because of the incest. I'm like, this is silly. You guys are stupid. People got nuts about this. First of all, in Norse mythology, Loki birthed the world serpent and the wolf. What's the wolf's name in Ragnarok?
Fenris.
That's Loki's child, by the way. So like, don't be stupid on social media. You can be stupid. Don't be stupid at other people's expense. How about that?
Well, and the other thing is, I don't think we've had fully explained what it totally means to be a Loki, as far as like Sylvie, in the same way that Loki is a frost giant. Was his name Loki when he gets picked up by Odin, or is he just a random frost baby giant they name Loki and they adopt? In the same way, this other Loki might be an earth woman named Sylvie, who just got, like snapped up and named Loki and adopted by Odin. So there's not even like biological connection of any kind between Loki and Sylvie, right?
They've had 4 full episodes of television that they could have dived into that a little bit.
I mean, if they haven't dived into it, we just have to believe they're variants and they're the same exact person from.
Yeah, I mean, I've assumed it's the same person until that person makes a choice. And I think Loki being mischievous and having so much power to change how he looks and the shape that he's in and all of that has the opportunity to make a lot of variants.
So your thought is that Sylvie is genetically the same being as Loki. She just somehow is able to like make herself into a woman because she has Loki powers.
They teased that with that being her Nexus event, which doesn't make sense because then that would have created like a Nexus event every millisecond or something, right? Because it wasn't like the TVA picked her up right at birth or something.
I think her Nexus event was Loki was playing around with being different characters. He was practicing his little shape shifting. Ooh, I can be a girl. Ooh, I can be a snake. Ooh, I can be an alligator. He chose to be a girl, and for some reason he was like, I think I'm gonna stay a girl.
Okay, that's interesting.
And that's my headcanon for what the Nexus event was.
I like the idea that she's playing with a Valkyrie toy. And in that moment, she's like, I'm going to bring the Valkyrie back. I'm going to return the Valkyrie core to their former splendor. And that's the moment they have to take her, because that would change significant things.
Yeah. Either way, we're on the same track of Sylvie Loki made some sort of decision that put something in motion to make it a Nexus event.
Yeah, I mean, just a simple thing like, is Sylvie a frost giant? That's something I would love to know the answer to at this point, So timekeepers, to me, it was a kind of obvious twist, but not a bad one. I mean, just because something is pretty clear it's going to happen doesn't mean it's a bad thing to happen. It's just, a good archetype to me at that point. So it was fine to me that they were robots. Kind of expected them to be. I kind of love that they gave us, it was another way to do that. Like, oh, Luke Cage wore somebody else's clothes. And so it made him look like real comics Luke Cage for a minute. I felt like it was fun that it gave us comic timekeepers for a minute without sort of breaking their realism effect, thing. So.
But I totally would have like checked the other two. Well, I guess they did sort of power off.
Yeah.
Because like, I mean, like the first one turns out to be a robot. I'm going to check and see if the other two are robots.
I like how they do have time traveling tech, but they put all 3 timekeepers like on the same circuit. As if it's like a ride at Adventureland or Disney World or something.
I mean, the whole TVA is built on 1950s technology for some reason. So
their designs were killer, man. I hope we get Funko reveals this week because I really enjoyed those designs. Someone posted on Twitter this morning that the second like Sylvie picks up that head, you can hear a whisper that says, "We'll see you again." Apparently it's legit.
That's interesting.
Huh.
Yeah, I don't know. I enjoy it. To me, it makes sense. Like the TVA has been what I thought they would be, but I don't think it's bad that they've been what I think they'll be. I think I don't know. They give you clues and then you follow those clues. So.
For sure. For sure.
All right. Last thing I had was we got to talk about the big end credit scene. where suddenly we have all these other Lokis in Prune World, and it includes Alligator Loki, which is maybe my favorite thing ever. Richard E. Grant's finally on the show. I assume you guys enjoyed that as much as I did.
Hell yeah, man. Because this implies, so what is it? Is this Battle World? Is this hell? Because this episode was all about Loki being by himself. And what better version of hell could Loki be in than being stuck with every other copy of himself, and they're all alone, and they're all alone together, and that's a special sort of hell. So is this the Asgardian hell? Because Loki's
miserable bunch of backstabbers,
right? Right. It's just the perfect sense for hell. Or is it Battle World? Would they actually do Battle World? Because they teased the multiverse, so in Secret Wars. So is there remnants of Battle World? Better yet, this means Mobius isn't dead. Thank God.
Does it though? Because I'm trying to understand, does everybody gets pruned go to this world, or is this where all Lokis go when they die?
Or is there a separate one for each person?
Oh,
that's what I've been wondering. If there's a Loki world, a Mobius world,
or are there separate worlds? Is this the only world, or is this actually like the Asgard? Well, it can't be Asgardian afterlife because he's not an Asgardian.
Also, I thought I declared we were calling it the Pruniverse.
Pruniverse. There we go.
That's good.
Nice. Very nice. Pruniverse.
The Pruniverse.
Richard E. Grant, it would be amazing if he's Earth 616 just because he's like the oldest of the bunch. He's been around forever. And how did they get him to wear that costume? It's insane. This is the Marvel Television would never do something like that.
He's wearing a Party City Loki costume.
And it's amazing.
Adam.
Look, it's amazing. It was the best part of the episode. It was amazing.
Tell me more about why it's amazing. Maybe
why isn't it? Look.
It looks like it came from Party City.
It looks exactly like the campiness and insaneness of Journey into Mystery. It just looks. It's the stuff that I never imagined we would have got with Bryan Singer's X-Men.
See, what I really like about it is the idea of the multiverse is fun because of how weird the universe can get. So like the idea that there is somewhere where the aesthetic choices of that universe move to a place that's something that for our universe is so obviously ridiculous and campy, and their universe would be a logical thing for the God of Mischief to wear. I love how bizarre that is. And it's the same reason I love Alligator Loki is like, oh no, there's a universe that where he has to talk. I really want Alligator Loki to talk. I want him to have a famous voice. I want to be like Denzel Washington voicing Alligator Loki. I don't know, because it's the idea of that there's some universe out there where things went so terribly wrong that that's normal. And that's really exciting to me.
Yeah. But also, there's no way you would have Old Man Loki, because the minute that Loki survived Thanos, it would be a variant, and he would never get that old. Unless he sat around and did nothing until he was old. And that's not a Loki.
That's why I'm not so sure about it. Doesn't Caleb, you always say that Marvel prides itself on this science stuff, but the timeline thing doesn't make it's so many variable. We're talking every sliver of time could be a separate infinite
multiverse. Absolutely. And all I would say is I get what you're saying about the Old Man Loki, except if the TVA is a bunch of liars and they haven't actually pruned all these universes they claim they have.
Yes.
Yeah.
But suddenly they realize this old man's needs to be pruned. I mean, he's been pruned.
Well, again, we don't totally know that. If this is an afterlife for dead Lokis, maybe he never was pruned.
Did he age in the Pruniverse?
Oh, yeah, that's interesting. I just like that it's weird. I just love the bizarreness of it. It's just
I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see. I'm just not getting my hopes up again.
I would really love to see Frog Thor. I feel like that's the natural thing to do next if we have Alligator Loki, but that's probably hoping for too much.
Why can't the multiverse be created by the Big Bang or something? Why can't God create the multiverse? Who's saying God just said, well, here's universe 1 and universe 2 and universe 3? Why does it have to be time? I don't.
Well, I would just say that there are other options, but those have not been given to us as information in these movies.
Right. So when we're talking about Marvel stuff, right? Are we talking about? See, that's why I get confused. Like the real life multiverse theory has nothing to do with time, right? Or is that what you're saying?
No, I would say that there is a significant subsection of theoretical physics that would suggest that there could be a multiverse, and that multiverse is dependent upon minor variations at a molecular level at various points in time that created offshoots of the main made time split in two.
Yeah, I mean, there are actual multiverse theories outside of Marvel.
And
Marvel consulted
NBC.
with physicists that would probably have some knowledge of those theories.
Yeah, but they're just theories, you know.
You're correct, Adam. I am not claiming that this is the real way that the
Just
multiverse
theories.
works.
Caleb equals God, confirmed.
No, oh, gosh, that's very uncomfortable. Nope.
No, I love Loki episode 4.
Yeah,
it's great. Stuff's gonna get wild.
Yeah,
Stuff's gonna get wild.
So the one clarification I was wondering about, and this is disappointing to me. So at the end of episode 2, Sylvie creates all these Nexus events to get the guards busy, but then they're all fixed by the beginning of episode 4. Like they're looking at their timeline chart and they can't find any variants. Are we to understand that that was just a distraction so she could get to the timekeepers? I thought it was actually going to be the creation of timelines they could not stop by the time they got to the red line. But I got the impression from this episode they mustered enough people to reset all of those things that she did.
Yep. It was just a distraction. That didn't do anything.
Yeah, that's disappointing to me because I actually liked that idea of like their hair's on fire. The TVA does not have enough agents to possibly fix all this. That to me was an interesting plot line that just disappeared.
Yeah.
All right.
For sure.
All right. Thanks for listening, guys. I don't think I'm gonna do the mailbag today just because we've been going a while and it's the 4th of July and I'm ready to go do some other things.
Yeah.
So have a happy holiday weekend. Hopefully you will enjoy Marvel News Desk as part of your weekend. Thanks for supporting us on Patreon. We appreciate that. It's patreon.com/Marvel News Desk. Helps us pay for all the things like hosting and all that other stuff. As we said, we should just go ahead and float. I think at least 2 of us, maybe 3 of us will be at New York Comic-Con this year. Could be the first time all 3 of us are in the same room ever, if you can believe that. So if you want to be part of that, I think there could be opportunities. I don't want to get ahead of myself for people to hang out.
I mean, I'm going to have a party of some sort somewhere.
I just realized mid-sentence that I didn't want to obligate you to open that to the listeners.
The place I had it before, I will have a party. It'll be open to the public as long as I can find a place that will allow us to have a party. I reached out to the place that did it last time there was a New York Comic-Con where we did the rooftop party. It'll be a Save Daredevil party, but it'll be open to the public. The location where we did it last time, their costs went up by $3,000. So I'm not having that party.
So we need the Patreon, folks.
That's a lot of Patreon months for us.
A GoFundMe, contribute to a GoFundMe for me to throw a party.
We are going to sell seats to get your ticket at the party.
You're gonna have to buy a license to get a pre-ticket.
You have to buy a shingle to the rooftop party, but this shingle gives you the right.
The ticket will be $10. The fees will be $25. And I'm trying to work out a party, and when I do, it'll be open to the public whenever I figure something out. But we have until November. But if you're wanting to go to New York Comic Con, you need to buy your tickets now while you're listening to this podcast.
They go to the public July 8th. And if you want to pay $100 to be a member of whatever, you can buy them before July 8th.
Right. So you can buy a metaverse membership, and you can buy 2 tickets for each day. So like you and a friend can go halvesies on that and get the metaverse membership and get all the tickets, and you're guaranteed. So that's the one thing. You pay the $100, you're guaranteed tickets. Or you can play your luck on the 8th. See if you get tickets.
This podcast isn't even sponsored by Reed Pop either.
No.
Or you can apply to have a panel. I think late July is the due date on panel applications. Pro applications are due already. Press applications, they don't care about you guys.
So anyways, that's happening.
Actually.
Next week we will talk Black Widow and Loki episode 5. So we'll see you guys then. Bye.